2, 1, go. Check it out, it's the Notorious B.I.G. Chillin', you know what I mean? My man Tech and Sway, world famous wake up show, you know, we ballin' out here in Cali, you know, East Coast.
What is up, y'all? It's your boy Charles on there as well. Go ahead, that thumbs up button. We are getting into Original Gangsters, a book by Ben Westall. We are celebrating 50 years in hip hop. And it's a really good book, y'all. We're going to get into it. It's on Audible. If you want to check it out, let's go ahead and play it, and I'm going to come back to my commentary. That thumbs up button, guys. Appreciate it. Subscribe to Charles on there as well.
Chapter 24: Trepidation and Bravado. According to his manager, Mark Pitts, Biggie Smalls broke into tears at the news of Tupac's death. He could hardly believe it. After all, his one-time mentor had been shot before and lived to tell the tale. But perhaps there was a bright side to the tragedy. With Tupac dead, could that mean all of this was over? In 1996 and early 1997, Biggie was working on his second album, Life After Death, whose title, he said, alluded in part to Tupac's passing. Biggie had started on the new work a few months before Tupac's murder and was extremely proud of it. As popular as he'd become, he felt his new album would really put him on the map. But there was stress in Biggie's life too. By early 1997, his weight had swelled to over 350 pounds. Owing to a recent car accident, he walked with a cane. Weapons and narcotics charges hung over his head, following a July 1996 raid of his Teaneck, New Jersey home when police found guns and marijuana, and his relationship with Faith Evans was flagging. If that wasn't enough, he was nearly broke. And so it was with a weird mixture of trepidation and bravado that he arrived to California in February 1997. He came to record, shoot a video, do press, and work Hollywood channels in hopes of kicking off an acting career, as Tupac had. But the agenda also included smoking some of that excellent Cali herb beneath palm trees to try to get his mind off things. For a few weeks it worked. Puffy put him up at the Los Angeles Four Seasons, and he gave interviews by the pool, just like in Juicy. He joyously hit the town with his friends. Life was too short to live in fear. "We were proceeding like things were back to normal again," said a member of his entourage, speaking anonymously to a Newsweek reporter. Was it too soon? You didn't have to believe Bad Boy orchestrated Tupac's death to think it a tad disrespectful for Biggie and his crew to be acting like they owned the place. Anybody in their right mind knew they didn't let enough time pass, said promoter Doug Young. Biggie's mind was unsettled, but he could take solace in a couple of things. For one, he'd found God. Encouraged by Puffy to make things right spiritually, he acquired a Jesus medallion and got a piece of scripture tattooed on his arm. For another, on February 12, 1997, Puffy and Snoop declared a truce in the East Coast-West Coast beef, albeit in the unlikeliest of venues, at a press conference in L.A. before the taping of an episode of Steve Harvey's self-titled WB sitcom. Employing some rather wooden acting in the show, Puffy and Snoop are brought together by Harvey's teacher character to deliver a message of peace to his class. But there were bad omens as well. Boos, surely stemming from the coastal rap rivalry, rained on Biggie when he presented an award to singer Toni Braxton at the Soul Train Awards on March 7th, where Tupac's All Eyes on Me won Album of the Year. The less than welcoming reception at the show didn't stop Biggie from attending a post-awards party at the Peterson Automotive Museum the following evening in LA's Miracle Mile neighborhood. He almost didn't come for another reason. Puffy had arranged a London promotional trip for him, but Biggie talked his boss into canceling the trip. "The food is horrible," he explained in part. He believed the Peterson party might provide some good networking opportunities. Indeed, celebrities crawled the event. The New York-based DJ made everyone comfortable, playing Biggie's new single, Hypnotize, and other Bad Boy songs. Biggie in shades and his Jesus piece chilled at a corner table, while Puffy, wearing a bowler hat, got loose on the dance floor. At one point, the people around him started chanting, "Bad boy, bad boy." But the West Coast got shout-outs too. When the DJ played "California Love," everyone put their drinks up in the air, even Biggie. Eventually, the fire marshal shut the overcrowded party down. Surrounded by his posse, Biggie limped toward the exit. Get Down. Located just across the street from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the Peterson sits at the corner of two busy streets, Wilshire and Fairfax. The Bad Boy Caravan consisted of 3 vehicles, with Puffies at the front, and the rear car driven by security guard Reggie Blaylock, an Inglewood police officer. The middle vehicle, a GMC Suburban, pulled up to the museum to load Biggie into the front passenger seat. Though they'd considered attending yet another party, feeling fatigued, they decided to turn in. But traffic was jammed, and they inched along. At the corner, just as the light was turning red, Puffy's lead car squeezed through across Wilshire, while the Suburban, blasting "Life After Death," was forced to stop. In a scene eerily similar to the one on Flamingo Road in Las Vegas, a car pulled up next to Biggie's vehicle, a green Chevy Impala. A gunman fired about 6 shots from a 9mm pistol into the passenger side. "Get down!" yelled Corrupt, a few cars behind with his fiancée Foxy Brown. Hearing the shots, Puffy jumped out of his car and ran to Big's side. But his star rapper was already losing consciousness. He'd been shot 4 times, in the arm, back, thigh, and hip, the last proving fatal, as the bullet hit vital organs. Blaylock chased the Impala, but couldn't keep up. Biggie was rushed to Cedars-Sinai, the same hospital where Eazy-E had died 2 years prior. There, the larger-than-life rapper was pronounced dead shortly after 1 a.m. He was 24, 1 year younger than his one-time ally Tupac. Former New York Mayor David Dinkins and rap stars including Dr. Dre attended Biggie's March 18, 1997 funeral on the Upper
Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, guys. Let's continue on.
East Side of Manhattan, where Faith Evans sang gospel and Puffy delivered a eulogy. Mary J. Blige consoled Lil' Kim as they exited. Following the service, thousands gathered to mourn and celebrate him in Brooklyn, as his motorcade drenched in flowers passed through the streets where he grew up. In the wake of Biggie's murder, Life After Death took on a horrible and sinister new meaning. In an ad that came out after his passing, he was seen standing next to a tombstone. It became one of the best-selling rap albums ever, going diamond platinum in 2000, 14 years before All Eyes on Me did the same. Rumors flew in every direction in the weeks that followed Biggie's killing. Many suspected Suge's involvement, despite the fact that he was in prison. But police were instead chasing leads that tied the death to Crips, supposedly over a financial dispute. This theory would maintain a lot of traction over the years, considering Bad Boy's ties to the Southside Crips, and the fact that Keefe D and affiliates were at the Peterson that night. Many explanations were floated. Perhaps Bad Boy owed the gang money for security work, or the gang was simply extorting them. Perhaps the label unceremoniously cut ties with them after Tupac's death, thinking they no longer needed their services, and angering them in the process. But this hypothesis wilts under scrutiny. For one thing, neither Lil C's nor G Money, members of Biggie's entourage and eyewitnesses to his murder, recognized Keefe D nor any other Crips as the shooter. For another, according to Lil C's and Bad Boy bodyguard Eugene Deal, Bad Boy's interactions with the Crips contingency were nothing but cordial that evening. LAPD detective Russell Poole dismantled this theory and developed one of his own, with a conspiratorial bent that threatened the entire department. Poole discovered foul-smelling death row connections to cops, including David Mack, a Compton-bred Olympics-caliber middle-distance runner whose career was ended by injury. Mack found success as an undercover officer, but was arrested after stealing more than $700,000 from a Bank of America branch in late 1997. Mack's police partner, Rafael Perez, was also thought to be in cahoots with death row. His corruption arrest and testimony would fuel the costly LAPD Rampart scandal of the late 90s, revealing widespread misconduct in its crash unit, the same unit infamous for aggressively rounding up anyone in South Central whom they took to be gang members. Poole was shocked to discover David Mack had something of a shrine to Tupac in his garage, right next to his Impala SS, the same model as the one used by Biggie's murder. But Poole didn't think Mack pulled the trigger. His theory accused a friend and former classmate of Mack's, named Harry Billups. Billups was now a Nation of Islam member who went by Amir Muhammad. This detail seemed especially incriminating, as witnesses said Biggie's killer wore a traditional Muslim suit and bow tie. Information police received from a jailhouse informant seemed to finger Amir Muhammad as well. Further, bad boy bodyguard Eugene Deal later said he'd seen Muhammad at the Peterson on the night in question. The LAPD stymied Poole in his investigation. He believed it was to cover their own. Transferred off the case, he resigned from the department in 1999, and before long went public with his investigation. Poole's theory informed Randall Sullivan's 2002 book, Labyrinth, and Nick Broomfield's Biggie and Tupac documentary that same year. Poole also worked closely with Biggie's mother, Voletta Wallace, on a wrongful death lawsuit she and others filed against the city of Los Angeles in 2002. It was amended 5 years later to allege police conspiracy in Biggie's murder. The suit was potentially worth $500 million, the rapper's estimated lifetime earnings, a sum that apparently terrified LAPD brass. That's why the cold case was reopened in 2006, said Detective Greg Kading, who would come to lead a task force investigating both Biggie's and Tupac's murders. Kading's team soon dismissed Poole's theory. For starters, the Impala murder car was green, rather than black like the one David Mack had. They also looked more closely at the accusations of the jailhouse informant who had supposedly fingered Amir Muhammad. It turned out the informant described someone with very little in common with Muhammad. As for bodyguard Eugene Deal's alleged sighting of Muhammad at the Peterson that night, Deal had previously ID'd someone different, Kading said, and besides, Muhammad's picture had already been published in the media, which might have tainted Deal's recollection. Ultimately, neither Mack nor Muhammad were charged in the matter.
Yeah, man, what y'all think about this, man? This is crazy, man. Original gangsters, Ben Westhoff. So, wow, the LAPD may have some influence on the Biggie Smalls murder. Interesting. Listen, if y'all want to know more about this, you can go ahead and go to Audible and check out Original Gangsters for yourself by Ben Westhoff. It's funny, man. It's, out here, I live in Los Angeles. They know who killed Tupac. Like, they really, like, it's funny. When I came out here, I knew some people that lived out here, been out here all their life. And they said, man, we knew who killed Tupac the night it happened. People in LA. They're like, shoot, the hood know. You know what I'm saying? The hood knew what happened in Vegas. But the whole thing with Biggie, like, nobody talks about Biggie. You know, like, what happened with Biggie? Like, was Suge Knight involved? You know the people? I'm pretty sure Suge knows who killed Biggie, I think. I think he knows. I believe he knows. Man, in fact, I know he knows. I know Suge knows. Anyway, what do y'all think? Leave your comments. Subscribe to Charles in His World. I'll take care.